Hey, it's Joey for Digital DJ Tips, and in this video I'm going to give you a brief overview of Novation's Launchpad Pro. It's the latest model to come out of the Launchpad series, which debuted way back in 2009. And while the Launchpad has gone through a couple of iterations in the past, this is the first time that we're seeing a major update to the controller. So in this brief overview, I'm going to give you a rundown of the features of this controller, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts on it right after. Let's get started. Okay, so let me give you a quick tour of the Launchpad Pro. I've got it connected right now to my MacBook Pro running Ableton Live 9. I've got it connected via USB, and I also plugged in the power supply, which makes the pads light up even more brightly. As you can see, nice and bright. So let's begin with the grid pad here in the middle. You've got 64 RGB backlit pads. What that means is that these pads are able to mimic the colors of the clips that you've got in live session view. So whenever you're out gig and you've color-coded your clips, it's not that hard to know where you are in your session and in your performance. You don't even have to look at your laptop anymore. So I think that's pretty cool, and that's something that was just included in the current line of Launchpads. Aside from being RGB backlit, these are also velocity-sensitive pads, meaning they can send a range of values from 0 to 127 depending on how hard you press the pads. Let me give you an example over here. I'm going to load a drum kit, and let's say I'm hitting this hi-hat really softly. There you go. And I can apply more pressure, and you'll notice a difference in the sound. Same with the snare. It gets louder and louder the harder I hit it. So having these velocity-sensitive pads gives you another degree of creative expression whenever you're performing live. So really awesome, and I think it's about time that the Launchpad actually got these cool sort of pad functions. Okay, so that's enough for the grid. Let's go over the function buttons that you've got around the grid. Let's go through it clockwise, starting here on the upper left. You've got 4 navigation buttons over here, so you can move around your project, just using them up, down, left and right. Pretty self-explanatory. You don't have to reach for your mouse if you want to scroll through your session view project. That's really awesome. Beside those 4 navigation buttons, you've got your 4 mode buttons. So the first one is session, for session mode, where we are in right now. This lets you launch clips. There you go. Which is something that you're going to be using when you are in a live performance setting. There you go. Let's just stop that first. Okay, now beside the session mode button, you've got note mode, which will turn the grid pad into a piano keyboard. Let me show you how that works. Let's press note button. And I've got a synth loaded in one of my tracks here. And as you can see, the lights are different. And now I can play this as if it were a piano. And so on. Now, if you don't have a synth loaded, let's say you have a drum kit loaded over here, well, note mode turns it into a MPC style drum grid. So now I can play drums. There you go. So super handy, really awesome. Now, beside note mode, you've got device mode, which will let you control any device that you've got loaded in Ableton Live, whether it's an EQ, a compressor, other stuff like that. You can use these pads to raise or lower values and settings that you've got. And it's pretty cool because Launchpad Pro has this new feature called Fader Glide. So if you tap the pads lightly, the values increase slowly. But if you hit it really hard, it goes down really quickly. Now, beside the device mode button, you've got user mode, and this is where you can map certain things to the Launchpad Pro. If you want to send MIDI data to it, if you want to make a light show and all that stuff, this is where you're going to do just that. Let's go back to session mode. Okay, now here to the right, you've got your scene launch button. So this lets you launch 8 rows of clips. Well, of course, if you scroll down, you can go through your entire project, but you've got 8 of those scenes already. So just stop that over there. And then here at the bottom, you've got your mixer controls. Now, the first 4 here are record arm. So this lets you choose which track you want to arm for recording. you want to record stuff to it. Track select, which lets you choose a track that will appear at the bottom of Ableton Live's device view. There you go. You've also got your mute selector over here. So let's say you're playing 2 clips here and you want to mute a track. All you have to do is press the mute button and you've got that going. Aside from that, solo does the opposite. So if you choose one track, this is the only thing that you're gonna hear, even though you've got a bunch of other tracks playing at the same time, like that. And here, the 4 buttons are volume, pan, sense, and stop clip. So for volume, this lets you change the volume of your tracks while you're playing, so you don't even have to reach for your mouse anymore just to adjust the volume setting. Just unsolo that. There you go. So you can change your volume here. If you want to lower the drums, make it louder. You want to lower the synths, there you go. And so on. Panning lets you pan the track left or right. There you go. Yeah, pretty handy. And over here for sense, you can choose the send level of your track. So if you've got an effect loaded in your return channel, if you got a reverb, a delay, you can send them over here. Again, without having to reach for your mouse, everything is adjustable within the Launchpad Pro. Stop clip button just lets you stop the clip that's currently playing. Okay, now finally over here to the left of the grid, you've got a couple more function buttons. You've got the shift button, which lets you access a second layer of commands. You've got click track button here, which turns the metronome on or off. Let's just go to session view again. Session mode, I mean. And then you've got your undo button over here. You got delete button, quantize, a duplicate button, which lets you duplicate a clip that you've got. It puts it in the next available slot, like so. Go. And you've also got double, which doubles the length of clip that you've got going. Finally, this is the record button over here. Okay, so should you get the Launchpad Pro? Well, if you want to get started performing or DJing in Ableton Live, and if you've got the budget for it, this comes at just under $300, you can't go wrong with this controller. The pads feel great, the controls are intuitive, and it really is small enough to fit in your DJ bag, along with your audio interface and your laptop. Now, if you've been performing with Ableton Live for a while and you have a previous Launchpad model, say the Launchpad S, Launchpad Mini, or even the first generation Launchpad, I still think that the Launchpad Pro is a worthy update thanks to the velocity-sensitive RGB backlit pads, because they just give you that greater creative expression whenever you're performing live, and it's also easier to see in a gig setting. Now, if you want to get started producing in Ableton Live instead of performing with it, I highly recommend that you learn live on its own first. When you're more familiar with the workflow and the process of producing within the software, only then should you consider getting a grid pad controller like this, because any little bit of hardware that you add in your setup always introduces a tiny bit of learning curve, no matter how simple or intuitive the controller may be. Okay, so that's it for my talk through of Novation's Launchpad Pro. I've got a full in-depth review of this controller over at the Digital DJ Tips website. The link is in the description box below. Please hit the thumbs up icon and click on the subscribe button if you are not a subscriber yet. My name is Joey. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.